What's up, everybody? It's Sol, and today we are here once again in Lord of the Rings Realms in Exile, one of my favorite mods for CK3, as you know, and this time for a mod that I've surprisingly never talked about. This is the Numenor submod for Lord of the Rings Realms in Exile, which adds, you guessed it, Numenor as a playable area in the mod. And it, as soon as I loaded the game up during the War of the Ring bookmark, we actually ended up with this bookmark, which is called An Island Reborn. Let's read the words, and then we'll go through some of these characters that are on screen here, and then we'll go into the map, get a look at some of the cultures and faiths and stuff, and then maybe eventually we'll make a gameplay video. But you know, I like to do these sort of overview videos of submods a lot because it sort of like informs people that the mod exists and also gives us like a brief overview of everything that's going on. Anyway. Following the doomed invasion of Ar-Pharazôn, the island of Numenor was nearly destroyed, its beautiful cities consumed by waves and tempests, and its people humbled by Eru and the cruel. For some reason, the text is all weird, as you can see. I wonder if you're supposed to use like one of those unique text mods. Anyway, after the downfall of Numenor was little better than their cousins in Middle-earth until Halaten, the Vanquisher, a scion of the line of whatever, managed to reunite the islands. In the years after Halaten's ascension, the few remaining holdouts of Mulcahy were expunged, and Numenor found a semblance of peace. Both the Kingsmen and the Faithful abandoned their struggle, and over the years began uniting into one, until the reign of Vientur the Compromiser, in which both ideologies officially united into the Adunabin, the Servants of the West. It is now the year 3000 of the Third Age, and Numenor's new goal is simple: to bring the colonies back into the fold. Will they achieve this and revive an old empire, or will Numenor fall victim to the cycle of tyranny once more? Interesting. So we have High King, which is this guy, Ar-Balkhazir. Ar-Balkhazir is the High King of Numenor. He is the descendant of Elros through Gimmelzager. These names are insane. Second son of Tar-Kalmasil, and his line has ruled Numenor fairly and justly since the death of the tyrant Ar-Pharazôn. While Numenor is not as strong as it once was, long has he aspired to renew the ties between the Isles and Middle-earth, bringing peace and security to the surely scattered and diminished colonies. With the help of Kiriander and Nisselmander, I think is how you say it, he has set out to achieve his greatest hopes and restore the former empire through word or sword. Will Ar-Balkhazir's dream come true, or will the Council of the Scepter prevent him from restoring the empire and let the doom of men befall him without achieving it? Lord Gimmelzager. Gimmelzager is the Lord of Nunduin, a fair region of Numenor filled with farmlands and fragrant trees. Gimmelzager is a descendant of Corahil, the blind sorcerer who usurped the throne of the colony by murdering his father and revolting against the line of Elros, which is this guy. For many lives of men, the descendants of Corahil's children were shunned by all Numenorians. After the Akelbeth, however, they slowly began to recover their reputation, first by helping the Ar-Kemender in his fight to unify Numenor, and then by showing their loyalty to Prince An-Kalaman. I think An-Kalaman would be it. During the Second Numenorian Civil War. Even still, their hateful descent has not been redeemed in full, for Tar-Arendur still decided to give away their holdings in Nisselmander, despite their loyalty. It is now the year 3000 of the Third Age, and Ar-Balkhazir, I think is how you say his name, has offered aid in recovering the ancient colony. For Numenor, shall the house of Kiriamir remain loyal to the line of Elros, or shall they follow in the footsteps of Corahil? That's an interesting storyline. What did he say is helping him? Kiriander is the son of Gerdon and Lord of Nisselmander, descendant of the branch of the house of Dol Amroth. His sires had refused integration with the elves of Ethelon and desired to keep their Numenorian heritage. Their faction became known as the Falmerdal. And while they had the reputation as the best and fiercest warriors in all of Gondor, pirates, a great storm blew him far off course. That's a weird sentence. He landed in a strange and fair land and recognized it as Numenor, believed to have sunken under the waves. There he was met by Tar-Arendur, and when he proved his descent from Vaindur, he received fair Nisselmander and the hand of the king's daughter. Interesting. In exchange, Gerdon pledged loyalty and all the information he knew of Middle-earth. Now, with Kiriander, Gerdon's son, as Lord of Nisselmander, he begins to plan a venture to Belfalas, the home of the princes of Dol Amroth. Will Kiriander succeed in his journey to reclaim Belfalas for the... Oh, he wants to reclaim it. What the hell? That's interesting. We all know I love the Swan Knight, so that's a pretty good one. Should we read all of them? Because that's 3 of them. 3 of the, what, 6? I don't want to read all of them. I'm kind of curious to choose this guy. Let's do this guy. He sounds interesting. Well, I'll let you guys read the other 3, but let's start this up and just see what the map looks like. Because I don't want to spend all day just reading these, because we don't need to read all of them. You know, you can obviously do that when you download the mod. All right, so we are in the map, and okay, so Numenor is off the coast by Belakar, actually. It's pretty far south of Gondor. Well, not pretty far. The Bay of Belfalas is here. You can actually kind of interact with Valinor from here, which is interesting. So let's look at, to start off, the Empire title would just be Numenor, of course, which I think somebody technically controls this. Yeah, so he controls Numenor anyway. Let's look at the faiths. So there's a couple, actually. There's this one, the Adunaben, which is the faith of the Adunai, founded by Tar-Ventur, the Pragmatic, oh my God, the Adunabeni follow the teachings of the faithful to a certain extent. They respect Eru and the Avaloi, yet their own conservatism and isolationism has shaped their beliefs such as they believe they are superior to all other races. Oh, I see. Whether it be the elves, dwarves, or any of the myriad of cultures of lesser men, they consider themselves as the mediators between the Valar and any who is not Adunai. A legacy of influence of the Kingsmen. While some of the ancient traditions of the, I'm not going to read that, have been forgotten to time, the Menel Tarma is still seen as the holy mountain and remembered by the wise as the Fane of Eru, the One. As such, a memorial of the victims of the downfall and the servants of Melkur is held at the middle of the mountain every half-decade, where the elders of Numenor tell the youth of the past so they may not repeat it. Adunaben is a pragmatic faith and is centered on the prosperity of the Adunai most of all. In that regard, it is more of a faction rather than a faith. At its core, however, the traditions of old Numenor and veneration of the Avaloi is still present, even if greatly altered. Interesting. It's surprised that they don't have... I wonder if their culture has xenophobic in it. So they have a couple different places. What is the name of that? After the Akabeth, R. Zimmerfell's body was found and entombed at Noranon, and the Menel Tarma became a holy site once more, with the king seeing its full restoration. After the Second Numenorian Civil War and the rise of the Adunaben, the Menel Tarma became a site of not just worship, but remembrance for those who had fallen under the shadow. Is there anything on the map? Oh, this is the mountain right here. As far as faiths go, so we have the Batan Farazon, and then we also have the... I cannot read that. There's no way. What's the Batan Farazon? It's a really cool helmet. Is a faith that emerged following the Akalbeth from the shattered remnants of the Arunwani. Only the moderate faction had survived the destruction caused by Era. The majority of the Arunwani refused to aid the few remaining and sided with Prince Diarben's decision to support the compromise of R. Zimmerfell following the Council of Ondesto. His people aided her during the First Numenorian Civil War and with the reconstruction process that began afterwards. The Baton on Fazan, I think, teachings are mostly a continuation of the Kingsmen, though they adhere somewhat to the Valar and the majority of the teachings. They display the same Adonai arrogance that had plagued Anadun before the Akalbeth, putting an emphasis on the traditional values of the Adonai. Indeed, their faction eventually went against the policies of the pragmatists preached at the Council of Ondesto and have continued the remembrance and veneration of the ancestors began by Tar Atanamir, I think, maybe. So these guys are warmongering. These are astrology and adaptive. Communal identity, warmongering, interesting. They consider them astray. And then these guys they have the fire. Do they worship the secret fire? The gift of men, and the nature of men to die and pass beyond the world and to discover what lies beyond it and make new things. This is the providence given to us by Eru Ilavatar, and we have been uniquely blessed with the ability to choose the time of our going in peace and not despair. Let us lay aside our crowns and pass the scepter to our children in the fullness of their days. We must say farewell, but not in sorrow, confident of the benevolence of Eru and that we shall be reunited at the end. Interesting. We cast all icons out of our holy places. So they have no icons, and they also are allowed to basically cast away their faith or their thrones, sounds like. Monogamous, close kin taboo, interesting. Tutored by the Eldar and the Maiar, the Numenorians adopted their religious customs as their own. Just as Manwë upon Tanquintel, I think is how you say it, the king of the Numenorians would thrice a year ascend the holy mountain, the Menel Tarma, at times of sowing, midsummer, and harvest, offering the fruits of the earth to the Allfather. These are the things. In addition to their reverence of the One, the Numenorians also revered the Valar as his appointed steward and regent of Ea. One unique aspect of the Numenorian faith compared with the High Elves and the Valar is the old hope of men, the Estel Enwina, a legend preserved since before the Edain entered Bellarand, I think. According to the lore their ancestors had passed down to them, the hope was that one day the Allfather would enter creation incarnated as one of the Eruin and mend the marring from beginning to end. Ilúvatar is the Lord for always who dwells beyond the world, who made it and is not of it, nor in it, but loves it. Interesting. I kind of thought they were going to be an evil faith at first because of the fire, but I guess no, they follow the ancient faith. And this is more of like an adaptation, kind of a xenophobic faith. And then the cultures it's just the Adonai, which I would assume, I'm surprised they don't have xenophobic. Of all the peoples of the world, few carry themselves such as the pride of the Barum and Adonai, for they dwell within the greatest realm of men, Numenor. Generations of prosperity and seclusion have instilled in them deep reverence for their heritage and traditions. Their long isolation from other lands has made them cautious of outsiders, holding most dearly to kinship with those who share in the legacy of Anadun. So they probably, they care more about people who have like the blood of Numenor, sort of like the Black Numenorians in the game. Council of the Scepter. Oh, this is interesting. So these are the people that are in the council. My cousin is the liege. I see, that's, because we're related. They're seafarers. They got pretty much everything that you would expect. Let's go back to the main map. Let's see what sort of unique men-at-arms these guys get, if anything. They get Soldiers of Numenor. Soldier of Numenor bearing heavy armor and weapon wrought with spells of power. The Tyrston and Tar Aran, the elite guard of Numenor bearing heavy armor and weapons wrought with spells and power. They also get the Knights of Numenor. They all have heavy armor, bearing the legendary steel great warbows with range and power unparalleled among men. So they get quite a few unique men-at-arms, which is cool. What sort of decisions do you get? Petition the R, which is just like Petition the King. I wonder if he gets an event to start the game because he's supposed to leave, which is interesting. What is... I'm kind of curious to see what he would get, though, just like as the main guy. What sort of options does he have as the counselor? Overall council approval. It looks like he would want to do something. He doesn't follow the same faith as you. And they actually have Blood of the Numenor rank, what, 7? Jesus. A spiritual blessing. Yeah, they are incredibly... Lay claim to the throne of Gondor. Oh, long have the heirs of Isildur remained hidden in the wilderness of Arnor, waiting for their time to come. Balakazir has proven himself to be exceptional quality and worthy claimant to the vacant throne of Gondor, question mark. You can also restore a Numenorean province. You will choose a long-lost province to reintegrate. That's really cool. So you could, like, sort of play as Numenor and then be like, oh, well, I'm going to retake Umbar. It would be interesting to play as Numenor. They actually have a really strong army. 11,000, and they make a lot of money. He has a ton of money to start. This would be a really cool power campaign, actually. The sort of help unlooked for coming across the sea to fight against Mordor at the behest of Gondor. But we'd probably have to come over here and, like, attack Umbar first. I almost wonder who you would have to, like, where you would have to land, because it looks like everything is too far away for you to interact with, which is interesting. Ah! Okay, here's some stuff. They have some Numenor decisions. Okay. What's these? The extermination of... Okay, a few days ago, our scouts reported pirate ships near our coast. And after a short struggle... Okay, so it looks like you actually get some different options. Cannot allow these Mulkiri to tarnish the reputation of the Adonai. The council shall be informed and decisions shall be made to deal with this mockery of the Anadun. This you get automatically if you are distinguished. Or distinguished, sorry. Ar-Pharazôn, the second, the greatest of kings of men, the golden, who led Numenor at its zenith. He fought for the right of his fellow Numenorians to be granted eternal life, yet the cruel and arbitrary Valar have kept him in prison, knowing they cannot defeat the might of Numenor. For I am certain that he reached the Undying Lands, yet now I am king of Numenor, having reverted back to the true faith and teachings of Ziggur. I shall free Pharazôn from the prison of Amon, for together we shall depose the Valar once and for all, and we shall make their former lands into our new realm, and with it become superior than even the elves. I see you have to be insane to do one of these. And you have to worship this faith, which would be like the Black Numenorians. It could be interesting to do that. At the time of Numenor's height, they swore fealty to Numenor not as a colony, but as a protectorate of the scepter, in which they recognized the high kings of the Adonai as their Krali, which is their primitive language, means king. The Dar prospered from the Numenorian protection, for it could trade with the colonies of the Empire in the Bay of Tolwang. Yet those days have passed, for once news of the Akhlbeth reached them. 7 regions of the Dar broke their fealty to Numenor. And ever since they have been unable to gain the power or the glory of old. But now we shall give them a chance to change that. Interesting. And we can also disband the Council of the Scepter. Was founded by Elros to aid his reign by gathering the most noble and wise of the Adonai to advise him. At first the council was advisory, a ceremonial yet prestigious part of the ruling of Numenor. However, with the rise of the king's men, the council began to gain more power. As more and more the kings clung to their lives, even after their vigor of the mind had left them, their power often passed to the members of the council, and they would gain more power following the Akhlbeth. The council took advantage of the political crisis to support Prince Daraben's claim to the throne, and ever since they have held the final say on Numenor's foreign policy, but no more. I shall restore the council to its ceremonial position. You have to have a lot of prestige and piety to do that. Very interesting. Very, very cool. I like this so far. This is cool. There's a lot of stuff going on over here. I wonder what... I was wondering if they had any cool armor. It looks like they have like the Arnorian armor, maybe. And they do seem to have their own men-at-arms art. And it looks pretty solid, I would say. I'm a big fan of that. Looks like we can create another one. Let's see what the... I don't think he has the steel bows of Numenor. Great. Love that. Let's go back to that one character, just to see if he's got an event. I like this, though. This is really cool. I definitely foresee me using this for a video. I kind of like the idea of playing as Numenor and sort of reintegrating stuff. And then maybe trying to help Gondor defeat Mordor, like make an alliance between the two, and then come to their aid and smash Sauron once and for all. That could be fun. I wonder if if I hit go, what do we think is going to happen? Do we think something's going to... Oh, the House of Venator is one of the oldest Numenorean dynasties, having been founded during the reign of Tar Elendil. We have been the lords of Nisselmander and the princes of Belfalas. That was until our cousins forsake their Numenorian lineage and adopted the ways of lesser people, which made Alpharos, brother of Imrazor, created the Falmerdal, a group of mercenaries in Gondor which only welcomed the purest Dunedain. While they gained the reputation for being the fiercest fighters in all of Gondor, the people mocked them, for they thought of them as a reminder of Castamir and the kin strife. My father Gerdon spent much of his time hunting down corsair ships to protect the coasts of Gondor, yet he received no praise from the stewards One day he ventured too far after chasing those wretched Haradrim to Mardarok. It was at this point that a mighty storm threw his ship off course, causing him to end in Orostar. My father would have been killed had he been of the blood of lesser men. But when the Arm recognized that he was a Numenorian, he was welcomed as an honored guest, and in time he proved he was a descendant of Vantur, and was given Nisselmander and the Ar's daughter in exchange for loyalty and information about Middle-earth. The House of Vantur has not yet fallen. We get a press claim on the lordship of Dol Amroth, the government of LotR, and the principality of Dol Amroth. I don't think you'd just be able to take that either, because you would have to attack them. Also, the big thing that I'm noticing is where do you go? Because it doesn't look like you can attack anybody. You're like too far away to do much of anything. I wonder if there's a second event. But this is neat. I really like this mod. I like the idea of having all this stuff to do. However, I am concerned, again, because I don't know where you would go. Like, there's nothing within range of me, and I don't even think Numenor has anything in range. Like, he's still too far away to interact with. This is interesting. This is my only concern for this mod then. So I think what would be interesting is playing as this and then trying to like maybe go through the storyline, like go through these major decisions. That could be fun. I think that we should maybe try to do that for a video. And that's kind of what you could do as a character. I'm a little confused. Again, I wonder if it would require a mod to, or maybe even, let's see, because like this character, you could technically, I wonder. No, he can't even become an adventurer. Because it would be interesting to go through this line and like maybe restore a province or like lay claim to even to the throne of Gondor, because that could be cool as like a Numenorian. But I don't really see a way to like interact with them otherwise because you're out of range. And I'm wondering maybe if you would just need to like install a mod. Either way, let's see if there's any unique buildings, because you guys know when I love when people do that. Also, is there any unique artifacts? There are. You know I love a unique artifact as well. This is Dramberleg. This elven great axe forged in Gondolin in the late First Age belonged to the legendary hero Tuor, son of Huor, of the House of Hador. It was made for him during his stay in the Hidden Kingdom, and he fought orcs and balrogs with it during the fall of Gondolin. He left it to his son Arundel upon his departure for Valinor, and from it passed to Elros Tar Miniatur, and became an heirloom of the royal house of Numenor. It was believed to be lost in the downfall of Numenor, which, if you don't know what that is, also known as the drowning of Numenor, the downfall of Numenor was the utter destruction of the island of Numenor as divine punishment by Eru Ilúvatar against the Numenorians for breaking the ban of the Valar. Ar-Pharazôn, the last king of Numenor, was coerced by Sauron to assault the Undying Lands, which ultimately led to the island's destruction and the death of most of its people in the year 3319 of the Second Age. This was Sauron's greatest achievement, was destroying Numenor, because they were basically the greatest threat against him, as far as I remember. Nibin Arenruth is the blade forged in the image of the Arenruth, the ancient blade of the kings of Numenor and the kings of Doriath before them, lost by Ar-Pharazôn and Valinor. Nibin Arenruth was made by Ar-Halaton by melting down the 4 daggers of Elu Thingol, gifts given to him by the Firebeards of Nogrond at the Great Forge on Dosto. The sword has been passed down from the king to the heir and is accounted part of the regalia of the kings alongside the axe of Tuor. Though it is of masterful make, it is a mere echo of the sword before it. The world shall never see Arenruth's like again. It's very similar to Narsil, it looks like. I wonder if Narsil was supposedly made in Arenruth's image, or if Arenruth and Narsil are one and the same. That could be an interesting thing. I have no idea. And let's look at some, quite a few unique buildings. Let's read a couple of these, and then we'll call it good. So, the capital of Nisselmander, although Eldalon has seen better days ever since the line of Vantur has been restored in Nisselmander, the city has seen a boom in population and riches, taking advantage of the fertile Nunduin Valley, which is made at the breadbasket of Numenor. The city has been rebuilt with care. The elder may no longer visit this fair city, but their wisdom and knowledge survives. When people enter Nisselmander, they believe they have entered one of the elven realms. Interesting. Tower of Ruins, capital of Andustar. Ruined Tower of Ormet was destroyed during the Akhlbeth by the tremors and waves that hit Numenor. It still lays in ruins to this day. I wonder if you can restore it. You can, for not honestly that much. Well, we have no need to look upon Valinor or ensure that the elves do not land in Numenor. The Tower of Ormet still is a reminder of Numenor was in its past, and restoring it is one more step into restoring its former glory. So some things that you could do. So another tower you can restore. Looks like there's some buildings that can be rebuilt. That's pretty cool. The White House of Arundis was built by Arundis by Tar Minaldur as a gift to his betrothal to his son Eldarion. The White House was located in the region of Emery, known for its rolling hills and green plains. Tar spent most of her childhood in the White House of Arundis before moving to Armenelos. The White survived the Akhlbeth as it was in the hills of Mitamar, but it was abandoned until the reign of Inziladun, who gave it to his sister, Princess Zimrafel. After her death, the house was not abandoned and instead given to the King of Numenor to be used as his summer residence. And here's the capital of Numenor, which actually, if we look at this, that looks That looks quite lovely. It's sort of like a... Oh wow, that's beautiful. I love this model. This is really nice. It's sort of like Minas Tirith. Although we have long rebuilt Armenelos to mostly what it was before its corruption by the Melchorus, the city is not Armenelos the Golden of the past. We must still rebuild the areas damaged by the Second Civil War. However, we are lacking the resources. Expanding back into our former empire will give us the gold and resources we need to make Armenelos the fair city in Arda once more. Oh, and you can make it Armenelos the Golden again, and then you can also make it Nimloth the Fair. Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. Ancient halls. There's a lot to this. A lot more than I would have expected. I know this mod has been around since like 2022, so it shouldn't really be too much of a surprise that it's like this. But I mean, the island looks great. The models look really good. The texture mapping looks really nice. Just like the geography of it too, this volcano in the middle of it. I'm a big fan. I'm really looking forward to trying this mod out. I would expect to see a video of me doing this probably sometime in October. But yeah, if you've now checked this mod out, or if you've checked it out and you have some tips and tricks, whatever, let me know. And if you've not tried it out, let me know if you plan to now, because this looks really, really sick. As always, I'm Sol. I hope that you enjoyed this little overview video, and I will happily see you in the next one.